Hey guys, Balendu here, and today I'll be giving an in-depth review of the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. I know it's been time that I've said this, but without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. We'll be giving this review on the basis of a few departments, including camera, gaming, day-to-day performance, and many more. So, to start the review, let's get the specifications out of the way. This phone is being powered by a Exynos 9810 processor clocked at 2.7 GHz. Well, we live in India, so we get the Exynos 9810. But if you live in the United States, you will get the latest processor from Qualcomm, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845. The phone has 6 GB of RAM. On paper, this phone looks pretty damn good. The phone comes with an almost bezel-less 6.2-inch Quad HD Plus Super AMOLED display. Well, the name might sound long, but the display is pretty damn good. It has a pixel density of 529 pixels per inch. Talking about the GPU, it is an ARM Heimdall MP18 GPU. The phone feels pretty nice and premium in the hand with an approximate weight of 190 grams. At a price segment of 64,000 Indian rupees, the phone looks pretty damn promising, and let's begin with the review. So starting this review with the initial impressions of the phone looks really well built with a beautiful glass back. Well, this particular color is the midnight black, which is kind of a fingerprint magnet similar to the iPhone 7 jet black color. I would suggest you guys to pair this up with a good cover or a nice skin. Talking about the iris scanner, well, it works good enough, but in the hands of experts, anything can be cracked. Personally, with limited TouchWiz experience, I had no hopes because I had a basic Android user experience with MIUI. But honestly, I was impressed how refined and simple the UI was. Out of the box, the phone came with Android 8.0 Oreo, which is a great thing. Now let me give you guys its physical overview. Starting with the physical overview, on the top of the screen are the front camera, iris scanner, proximity scanner, and the earpiece. On the left side, we have the volume buttons and the Bixby button. On the right side, we have the power button. On the bottom, we have the C-type port and the headphone jack. On the back, we have the beautiful dual rear cameras with the dual tone flash and the improvisation in the placement of the fingerprint scanner. Now talking about certain other features of the phone has 64 GB of storage which can be expanded using micro SD card. Well, you might call this nitpicking, but I would have preferred 128 GB of storage on board. The phone ships with Samsung's own assistant, Bixby, which in my opinion isn't that great. Well, but you can still use Google Assistant on the phone. The phone also supports fast charging, and according to me, the fast charging times are anywhere between 50 minutes and 1 hour. Having an 18:9 aspect ratio display, the phone makes great use of it by optimizing the apps accordingly. We can also pinch in the display to make the full use in YouTube. Finally, after S8's fingerprint scanner failure, Samsung worked on its mistakes and we have seen a newly placed fingerprint scanner which is much more accessible. The fingerprint scanner is fast and pretty damn reliable. It is kind of a big phone with 6.2 inches of display. The display is a 2960 by 1440 pixels display which is pretty crisp. The phone is IP68 certified too, so you don't have to worry if it rains. Well, benchmarks cannot define a phone, but it can still throw some light on its hardcore performance. Although these days benchmarks are not that trusted, but still on Geekbench 4, the S9 Plus scored 3728 in single core and 9016 in multi-core. The phone comes with a 3500 mAh battery which lasts up to 1 day with basic use, but if your day involves a lot of gaming, then it will last you one whole day with no juice left at the end of the day. Now coming to the most hyped feature of the phone, the camera. The front camera of the phone is an 8 megapixel sensor with an 80-degree wide field of view and an aperture of f1.7. With the 80-degree wide field of view, we can get some really wide selfies, which is great. Now coming to the dual rear camera, both cameras support OIS, with one camera being a 12 megapixel wide angle camera with an adjustable aperture with an f1.5 and f2.4. The second camera is a 12 megapixel telephoto sensor camera with a fixed aperture of f2.4. The cameras support other features like AR emoji, HDR, grid lines, etc. The phone can record 4K videos up till 60 fps, slow-mo videos at 1080p 240 fps, and the super slow-mo, which is at 720p, which is kind of a low quality, but at 960 fps. Although Samsung isn't the first to get the 960 fps, Sony had already introduced this around 6 months ago. The camera performs really well in outdoor as well as in indoor conditions. Even in artificial lighting, the phone performs really good. The Pro mode lets you change the shutter speed, ISO, and even the aperture, which is a great feature for photographers. Now seeing the photos seem really sharp with cool tone colors. We have always seen that Samsung prefers cool tone, whereas Apple in their photos have a little warmer tone which look more natural. But I would prefer somewhat Samsung's colors. The photos overall look really great with a nice shallow depth of field due to that aperture of f1.5. But at times the colors in the photos look over-processed and not natural. Like in this image you are seeing, the plant leaves look so green that they are almost looking artificial. At times the bokeh isn't that great on objects, but on actual humans it is pretty good. The front camera is really nice with added features like AR emoji, which is kind of a Samsung's knock at Apple's Animoji. While talking about the variable aperture, the concept behind this is similar to a DSLR wherein you can change your aperture from f2.4 to f1.5. You use f2.4 in outdoor conditions to get some sharp images, but when you are in low light conditions, you can drop down to f1.5 to get a wider open aperture to allow in more light. Initially I thought it was a gimmick, but after using it I found it pretty practical. This looks pretty good while it is doing its thing. I tried my best to film it, but you guys can see the action of that aperture is pretty fast. Overall I think it is a very good feature for those who are used to doing DSLR and mirrorless photography. Now talking about the gaming performance. Well, with the 6 GB of RAM, the phone has great memory management, and due to the ARM Heimdall M18 GPU, gaming is a breeze for this phone. We tried 30 minutes of hardcore gaming with minimal frame drops and smooth gameplay. We noticed very less heating. Overall, the gaming experience is top notch due to the great specs. With the amazing display and some good sounding speakers, the overall gaming experience was fun and immersive. The cellular call quality on the phone is also pretty good, and the audio from the audio jack is also nice. I would have liked the inclusion of a preamp similar to LG V30 Plus, but it is still okay. I am at least happy that they have included a headphone jack in 2018. But unlike some other smartphone manufacturers who think that headphone jack isn't necessary. Now I really do not want to stretch this review any further, so let me end this with the pros and cons. Starting with the pros: crisp display, great gaming performance, sharp front camera, amazing low light pictures, and some amazing 4K 60 fps videos and 960 fps slow motion videos too. Now coming to the cons: little less battery life, overexposed and oversaturated pictures. I think Samsung has done a pretty good job this year by working on its previous year's mistake and making a good phone, minus Bixby. Well, coming to the end verdict, the S9 Plus is for a person who is currently in the market looking for a phone with flagship features, a great camera, snappy usage, and ready to pay a premium of 60,000 Indian rupees but can compromise with the battery life. I guess our video might have helped you to make a decision or at least entertained you. Then do consider subscribing. This is all from my side. Stay geeky and peace.